Hi, my name is Peyton Lindsay, and welcome to my presentation on the importance of album artwork. I am currently a junior studying at the University of Utah in the graphic design department. While I was researching for my presentation, I came upon this quote from a writer that said this, talking about album artwork not mattering anymore. This is no coincidence. Non-collectors haven't been buying physical copies of their favorite albums since the iPod and iTunes turned the industry digital. Musicians know this, and many have stopped caring because album artwork does not affect their sales, and I couldn't disagree more. I think album artwork is not dying, and it is more important now than ever. Now I'm going to give you a quick history of where album artworks started. Vinyl records is where it all began. Without vinyls, there would be no such thing as an album cover. Old record covers were sold in these brown paper sleeves that had holes in the middle where you could only see the title and other small details. This is an image of what old record store looks like in the 1910s to the 1930s, when all the records were being held in the brown paper sleeves. I don't know if it's just me, but looking for a specific record inside of all those shelves looks like a pain. The father of album artwork. Born on March 24, 1917, Alex Steinwest said at a young age that he was destined to become a commercial artist. Steinwest was only 22 years old when he became the first art director for Columbia Records in 1938. Talking about the plain brown covers, he said they were so drab, so unattractive. I convinced the executives to let me design a few, and after that, the rest was history. Retiring at the age of 55 years old, Steinwest had designed roughly 2,500 album covers. After the vinyl era, cassettes and CDs were next. Cassettes were more difficult to design because of how small the boxes were and because of the shape of the rectangles. The square shape of the jewel cases paved the way for the square standard of albums to come in the future, still used today. CDs and cassettes both included artwork that you could pull out, and they would turn into little booklets and stuff like that. People used to walk into stores and buy records because an album cover caught their eye. Now people discover new music when Spotify generates a playlist or their preferred online reviewer recommends it. Welcome to the digital and streaming eras. One of the nicest and best parts about the digital era is having access to so many songs right in front of you on a computer. The unfortunate part was having to purchase each song and or album. Fast forward to today, and streaming music is the most popular ways in which consumers interact with streaming media. It has never been an easier time to discover music. Streaming services will create playlists based off artists you like, genres you like, and more. I can also get recommendations from other places online such as YouTube, Reddit, or any social media platform. I could also just scroll around Spotify or other streaming services and look through the album covers to see what sparks my interest. Album artwork, whether it's on your phone as you're listening to music using Spotify, a physical album sitting inside of your room, billboard advertisement, social media posts, shares of a song or an album, we see artwork everywhere. I think album artwork is more important right now, and one simple way to put it is still thanks to streaming and the accessibility we have to all of the art. In this current age of overstimulation with so much music at our fingertips, you might be wondering what makes a good album cover and why do we feel that some are better than others. I will walk you through what design elements and principles make an album cover great. People need images that will stay in their minds, and one of the top ways that things stay in your mind is by drawing your attention with color. A color palette of an album is one of the most important things that can set the whole tone of the album because of the feelings and memories that you have with a certain color and what will come out of the album based off that color. Many album covers express the sound that is going to be on the album based off the artwork. In 2015, there were many albums filled with grayscales. Lots of grays, lots of blacks, lots of whites, lots of colors that were associated with moody and darker themes. Each of these albums had a sound that was associated with some of those feelings. Like first, let's talk about Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. It is important to point out that this album cover is black and white, showing that this problem happening has been a thing of the past and will continue happening for as long as we know. This album's concept explores themes of self-love and hate, fame, depression, violence, race, and politics through a spoken word poem that interweaves between songs leading up to the climax. This album is a masterpiece accompanied by a beautiful piece of album artwork. Fast forward to the next year, 2016. This is when a bunch of music artists start to be more colorful, bright, and they show that in their music and the artwork. Look at Chance the Rapper. He's smiling on his cover of his album coloring book. He's surrounded by pink clouds and all that. Then let's take a look at Anderson .Paak's album Malibu. He is sitting on a bench playing the piano on a beach. Behind him is a beautiful sunset, and in the water is a bunch of random things that just add to the funkiness of the album cover and just give in to the funkiness of the album itself, perfectly defining the sound and the album cover together as one. The second important thing in album artwork is the composition of everything inside of the square format. The way things are spaced, the use of foreground, background, positive and negative space, it all plays a big part in the album as an individual. A great example is Frank Ocean's Blonde. There is a white border around the gray inside, and inside the gray there is a rectangle that almost looks like a window showing us inside of the album and how Frank is feeling. Is he feeling sad? Is he feeling down? We don't know, but this is what we assume from the album art. The composition of it all is very pleasing and even throughout the whole thing. The next one with good composition is Big Bear. I'm just kidding. This one does have alright composition, but it's just more of a funny album cover, and I think it's really fun. The third thing that makes album artwork work is the thematic elements. This is all about the theme of the album and how the artist envisioned us to interpret the album. This album has both color and thematic elements going for it. The thematic elements inside Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager by Kid Cudi. Cudi wants us to focus on him and know that he is going through something. We may not know what it is yet, but thanks to the title we can assume it's something about rage, anger, or sadness. The fourth and last important thing that makes an album cover great is the feelings involved. One of my favorite albums of all time is Mac Miller's posthumous album Circles. This album cover is very simple and incorporates all four of the things we've talked about so far. Grayscale color, fitting to the posthumous release, the composition is well done, and the thematic themes and feelings go hand in hand. This album cover is a great look into what is to come in this beautiful album where Mac is spilling all of his feelings and thoughts. Mac Miller is my favorite artist and many people's as well. Mac is always very vulnerable in his music, and that was to be expected with this last record before it came out. Especially when it was announced and I saw this cover, I knew it was going to be heavy. This is one of, if not the most intimate and personal album covers in his discography. Is him just on a clean white square showing the listener his authentic self. Rest in peace. In the end, album covers can be whatever they want and people will still listen. From the black cover of Kanye West Donda from this year, to the amazing My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy that could be hung up in a museum without the art because of how nice the piece is. Conclusion: I think that album artwork is more influential today than ever before. At the end of the day, the music is essential to know how you feel about the album cover. And yeah, maybe songs are temporary, but great art is forever, and when great music is combined with great art, the experience is everlasting.